Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's SNT on FTN. I'm your host and broadcaster, Alexander Balderas, as well as producer. So, here we get ready into the race rundown. My name is Alexander Balderas, producer and commentator for FTN. I'll be covering for David Kreutz in the SNT race at Talladega. And what better way to get an opening to this league than in Talladega? I'm here to start, and it's going to be an incredible race here, folks. I am so ready for this race. Let's take a look at the grid order, and let's take a look at who qualified where. Vinny Tigner is on pole, then Jeremy Miller in second, Jackson Pelt in third, Henry Calhoff, followed by Connor Isabel, Shane Wielden, Kenneth Gorel, Patrick Genter, Kyle Jackson, and Dylan Wheeler. On to the next set of drivers, it's Payson Lindsay, Jacob Elkins, Jordan Kuntz, Matthew Weeks, Carter Casey, Mason Moriarty, Mac Grab, James Bowden, Tyler Servert, and Roger Servert. And I believe we don't have anyone else. Yes, that is correct. We get ready to start this one here from Talladega. Well, now that we've got everything underway, 80 laps here from one of the fastest and longest tracks on the NASCAR schedule, Talladega SuperSpeedway. One to behold by everybody as a classic and most legendary track by all. Tonight's events are going to be quite special here, folks. Midday as the pace car is off. We get things rolling here in Talladega. Just a few things of note here. S&T is back with the Xfinity car here at Talladega, and it's going to be a great one. Vinny Tigner set the pole here for Dega as he goes on the front row with the number 30 machine. They will occupy the first two spots. And as of right now, everyone has got onto the grid and everyone has started rolling to go down the back straightaway. Things of note, to keep your car clean here at Dega is one of the best things you can do as a driver. Most important things you can do is walk out of this race clean with a good points finish. Everyone looking to go for the win here today. It's going to be a tough one for these drivers here from Talladega. However, this field is contested and shown to put up great racing. So these guys are going to have it all to deal with here at Talladega. As we rounded turns 3 and 4, getting ready for the initial start of this one here, folks. Going to be an interesting and exciting race here from Talladega as the field gets set for 80 laps, 2.66 miles per lap of action here from Talladega, Alabama, in one of the most contested superspeedways in NASCAR. Pace car going to make its journey back down pit road as we get ready to pull up to the restart zone here from Talladega. Pace car in to the Geico restart zone we go. Just a bit further down the front stretch. The initial start here from Talladega. We go into the Geico restart zone and we are green from Talladega. Lap 1 complete here from Dega. Things are already getting underway. We have 2 lanes separated already. These guys mostly choosing the bottom lane. 80 laps of racing action doesn't go by in a flash. These guys have a lot of work left ahead of them if they want to get to the end of this race, especially with a clean car. Most everyone filing to the bottom. Ones of note made big moves on the start. Mason Moriarty up now 4th on that outside lane. Now he's going to be in the mix as well. These guys round off turns 3 and 4 for the second time here tonight as they go through 3 and 4 just fine. Just 1 lane on the bottom and 1 on the top. Consisting of about 6 cars now moves up to the top. It's Henry Kalhoff there in the number 63 machine. As he goes up to 98, really cannot hold that well of a lane as he's going to start winding out. Now goes 3 wide with no help. As he will now slide back through the rest of the field. He's going to go back, and I wouldn't call this one a good move here. He's going to go 3 wide with no help, and he's going to have to find his way back in line, of which he does. He's now back in the second lane. Things heating up. Mason Moriarty moves up to the 3rd spot after the 98 had shuffled back. Shane Wielden lost a few spots there with the shuffle back. Been a pretty quiet opening to this race. Not a lot of action, not wrecking so far. These guys have kept it under control for the most part, as they know that they've got a lot of racing action left. A lot of people go all the way up to the top and now makes a move down to the inside. That's the 27 of Jacob Elkins making a move on Henry Kalhoff and Jeremy E. Miller for the lead. Vinny Tigner now just behind our pole sitter. Mason Moriarty is going to be 2nd in line. Scored as 5th, but he really should be 4th. Vinny Tigner just taking that honor by being a bumper ahead of the 22. As these guys have kept it pretty classy so far. No mistakes yet, as that second lane falls back a bit. This first lane pushing for the 30. He now goes up top. He's going to make the move down to the second lane. Henry Kalhoff looks to go and push the 27 now. Henry will go up to 2nd. And they will both clear the bottom lane. Mason now leads the outside. Got the number 93 of Payson Lindsay behind the 22. Does he go 3 wide? No, he doesn't. Van Pelt does. He drops out of line, goes to the 3rd lane, has help, and he drops back in line. The 57, however, does not. Now that second lane will have to try and make something work. Mason leads that outside lane out from Payson Lindsay. Been an interesting and quiet 5 laps here from Talladega. Not a lot of horrible action, as we've gone really clean. Every move has been made decisively, and no one has really made any moves out of total aggression here yet. But that should change here in the next few laps, as Mason Moriarty now goes up, and he's going toe-to-toe for the lead. Fighting the man at the 30, Jeremy E. Miller. Mason takes the lead on timing and scoring, just edging ahead of the 30 machine. He will go to the lead now. Leading that outside lane, but with help from the 63, that inside lane still prevails as the lead lane. And I gotta wonder how much of his pushing this early on is going to lead to maybe a catastrophe later on. Coming across the line for lap 7 out of 80 here from Talladega, and things have been pretty calm thus far. With that 22 leading that outside lane, they've been making a charge more than ever. Got clear of the leader, Miller and Kalhoff. They drop down low. Mason should be able to make the move as the 93 goes 3 with no help but from the 57, and that won't work out at all. Now, if I was a 93, I don't know why he would have made that move. He's now stuck on the outside with no help falling back. So clearly not a great move to make. The 07 looks like he wants to split Mason 3, but it also doesn't look like he's actually pushing him with the bumper. Tough moves to be made here. Mason trying to lead that outside lane, unable to get to the lead as his help had left the lane trying to go 3. There was nowhere to go. The 30 comes up to block the 22 now as he's going to jump up. They're going to go all the way to the outside wall. Mason going to look back to the inside. He has no room. 30 is going to cut back down low. Jeremy E. Miller maintains the lead. 07 of Jackson Van Pelt not doing Mason any justice here. That outside lane starts to fall back as well. And no real strong push from that outside lane so far. It's going to be Jeremy E. Miller to lead at the line again. Oh, but now they're coming. They're fighting again as the 07 look to have maybe put it 3. He's going to bobble right back behind Mason. Is when I thought he was going to jump up. It doesn't look like he actually will. Now comes up the track, Jacob Elkins right in front of the 22. Now Mason has a person to push, and if he can push him, he can get him ahead of Jeremy E. Miller. The 22's known good pusher here at these plate tracks, and I wouldn't see why he couldn't pass the number 30. Jeremy E. Miller still leads that inside lane, lap 9 out of 80, coming up to the 10th mark, almost an eighth of the way through this one here, folks. Been an exciting race from Dega so far. A lot of moves being made. Not a single caution or wreck thus far. Mason pushing that 27. Jacob Elkins now takes the lead again on that outside lane. Bobbles back. Now has to drop with the 30. They're going to be side by side going through 1 and 2. The 22 tries to look for a different venue, different option, and it doesn't work. He's going to have to sit behind the 27. No help wanting to go to the outside. He has no chance but to push him. Now, something of note here with the Xfinity cars, they're pretty taped up. Doesn't look like it on the grill, but according to iRacing there, that's the race tape, and they get hot very fast. This race is all going to be about managing temperatures, especially when it comes to engine and oil and water temp, and that's something these guys are going to have to look out for. They cannot push forever, and that's one thing these guys are going to have to do their best at. Temperature management. Peeking in and out of lane to get temperature. You see that's what Mason's doing right there. He bobbles, he looks up high, gets air on the right side end of the grill. Now peek down low, gets some air as well. He's pushing at 27. We don't know how much longer he can push him for. He seems to be peaking pretty tall. Miller now goes to the outside. A switch up to the middle goes Jacob Elkins. He gets held out of line. The 30 with a single move that looked to be a block. Lost the lead and now is stuck on the outside lane. Henry Kalhoff scored as the leader. Vinny Tickner in second. Jacob Elkins now in third. Leader of that outside lane with Mason Moriarty in the 22 to boot with pushing. What an unfortunate event for the 30. He slides back. Now Mason trying to push the 27 of Elkins clear of Kalhoff, of which he does now. Temperature gets a chance to cool down. He has to hope for the best push here out of the 07 now. 07 of Jackson Van Pelt. He looks to go push the 22 up to the lead. And this time he actually will. Mason looks to be clear of the 27. No, he's not by a quarter panel. So he will slide back in line. As the number 22 leads that outside lane with help from the 07. So far, little to no issues going on. As Mason continues to drop back, unable to get to the bottom and lead that inside lane. Right now looks to change that with help from the 07, the 72 there. Of Connor Isabel holding off just behind. He's the third man in the outside lane, that 72 car. As everyone looks to go push to shove. Here goes Mason now. I believe he might be clear. Yes, he is. Will he drop down? No, he doesn't. He stays up there with Van Pelt and looks for the push. These two are going to be side by side coming to the line. The 27, the 22 going to be door to door, bumper to bumper. Give it to. Timing and scoring almost says dead heat. Give it to Mason Moriarty at the line. He led that lap. Currently in the lead is the 27. You see that the 93 there, Payson Lindsay, is going out of lane in that third lane and not able to make it work. Unfortunate events there, but I don't know how he was really going to make that work anyway. Does Mason make the move now? Does he go to that inside lane? Doesn't look like he will. Continues to drop back with the 07 now, as Tigner gets the spot over Mason. Now, at the line, Jacob Elkins over Henry Kalhoff and Mason Moriarty on this top three so far. Been a calm Dega race. Only a few moves made, and all of them decisive. It's lap 15 out of 80, and if you've just joined us, folks, a lot has happened since the qualifying order. Mason Moriarty now jumps up to be the leader of that outside lane. Moves being made now as Jacob Elkins leads that bottom lane. Henry Kalhoff, the man of the 63, just behind as well. Vinny Tigner is in 12th. He was our pole sitter. He's the number 12, that third on that inside lane. Not a lot of shakeups going on right now as the 07 needs to know when to push Moriarty at the exact right time. And that looks to be about right now. Mason now within a 10th distance of the race lead. I'm going to shuffle. Looks to be peeking towards the outside lane to get temperature here, but Mason now has a clear opportunity to side draft the 27 and try and go for the lead. Going to be tough, but I know he wants the lead of that inside lane. He wants to be able to control both lanes, and sitting up top isn't going to do them. Isn't going to do him any good. 07 peaking to get temperature now as things get hot under the hood of the 07. Right on board and take a look here. This is Mason Moriarty's on board. On board of the 22. You could just see just how much Mason is side drafting to that inside lane right there. And he wants the lead, but he's not having much of a push from Van Pelt, if I'm honest. No, he's not even pushing him at all. See, now if you'll look in the bottom left, you can see his temperature gauges. And the needle doesn't look to be in the 240 range. But I don't know if these needles are actively updating. Well, Van Pelt behind Mason. He goes for the push, the 07, trying to push the Ford number 22 IORA machine. For those of you unaware, IORA is a league we cover here on FTN on Thursdays with the Highline Premier Series. That's before. IORA runs before the Highline Premier Series and after, going on 1 week break. So this week there will be no IORA race, but catch him again the week after. Catch him again the week after for another race of the IORA series. Almost about halfway through the season. It's hard to believe. Coming from a driver, top 5 in points. It looks like I just remember getting my win in Auto Club and coming back here now. I know there's a Super Speedway coming up, so it would be a great opportunity to have a phenomenal points day. And that will be something to look forward to. These guys still have not wrecked yet. I'm surprised. Lap 19 out of 80. Oh, a blown motor! A blown motor, and I think it's Henry Kalhoff. Henry Kalhoff slow. Let's take a look and see what happened. So here's Kalhoff. Pushing to 27. And through 1 and 2, let's take a listen to the engine noise. So it doesn't blow there. Pushes down the back. Watch the rev needle. There it goes. And there goes his motor. It was entering 3. And he will drop back just behind. Well, things heating up and getting exciting already as we head back to the live view. Things heating up in the front. That second lane has just dissolved and gotten to nothing. That inside lane proving to prevail over anything. Tickner now jumps up to that second lane with these guys trying to put a fight. No one has been able to control the 27 of Jacob Elkins up front right now. He has been an indomitable force leading this race so far. As we go up to lap 22, turn your TVs up, folks, your phone, your laptop, or your desktop, as we get ready to go to an FTN Crank It Up. If you're just joining us now live from that Crank It Up, it's lap 25 out of 80, and things have shuffled completely again. Mason Moriarty now leads that inside lane with help from Jacob Elkins in the 27. Leading that outside lane charge is Kenneth Gorel now with Vinny Tigner in tow. But Mason's just done all that work now to get back all the way up to the lead, and I don't think he would want to lose it right now. Top of the board. Oh, it's almost a tie. Give it to the 57. Pipped Mason at the line. Oh, and the 27 almost gets loose and turns the 57, which would have been the big one, as it would have turned the 22 directly into the field, and we've got someone on the apron. Can't tell who that is. I believe it's Matthew Weeks as they both move down to the bottom. Now, to the lead. Kenneth Goro with Vinny Tigner in tow. Vinny Tigner makes the move with Kenneth. They now go back up to the front, and Mason wants that lead back. He's already jumped up to that outside lane, having help from the 91 of Carter Casey behind them, as he looks to push the 22 back up to the lead. Down the back straightaway, the 57 of Kenneth Goro now leads over the 22 of Mason Moriarty. Vinny Tigner now behind it. That number 57 on the inside lane. As Mason had once the lead just about a lap ago, now wants it again. He's not getting much help from the 91, and I wonder how hot the 91 really is. I want to take a look to see at the number 91's temperatures, because he is pushing Mason quite hard. Looking at the interior view right now, nothing of note. At least none yet. So far looks to be okay. Is right now riding on board now. He pushed Mason Gorell, our leader, on the bottom lane. Pushes Mason Moriarty back up to the lead. Mason, now the leader at the line. Can he hold it? As Mason will be scored as third. So drop back 2 spots. The 91 might jump back in front of him as he gets a push from the 07 of Jackson Van Pelt. They won't drop as of yet. They'll probably drop down the back. He's going to go 3. And that's a way big peak to the outside. And down low goes the 91. Carter Casey now takes the lead over Mason Moriarty in the number 22. The 07 of Van Pelt now leads that outside lane. That charge that Mason had led for multiple laps. Mason Lindsay blinking on and off the racetrack. As down to the bottom goes Van Pelt. Now Mason has 2 more cars in front of him, and that outside lane is going to fizzle out. One thing we haven't talked about if this does go green is green flag pit stops. You can only go about halfway on a full tank of gas, so we're going to see how green flag pit stops take effect. Mason jumps up to that topside lane. Not much help behind him. Connor Isabel in the 72. Payson Lindsay in the 93. But it's also the car behind Payson that seems to be blinking as well. Mason now with help from the 72. He will go and take the lead. He's clear of the 07. So is the 72. They're both going to drop down low. The 93 is not clear. He will not make the jump. Mason Moriarty retakes the lead here at Talladega on lap 32 out of 80. Single file now so far for the rest of these guys. As you look down, you can see just about 2 cars, maybe 3 with Van Pelt. If he decides to go to the top, no, he doesn't. About 3 cars, no, now 2 cars total in that top lane. So no one choosing to go up to the top. I think everyone is realizing fuel concerns. They're going to want to drop down to the bottom and go single file and not race it out. And this is perfect. Everyone now goes single file. And this is exactly what Mason Moriarty wants to see. No one contending for his lead. He gets to be able to lead this pack. The problem with leading, you burn more fuel. Not being in the draft and someone else breaking the air for you is really a lot more detrimental than people seem to realize. A lot of these guys going to have to play fuel strategist here. When will we see these guys come down to pit road, I wonder? That's going to be the interesting talking point of right now, as that outside lane looks to get restarted. Payson Lindsay going to be the one to try and restart that outside lane. Only 3 cars behind him, and none of which are close. Everyone's still racing really conservatively as they're all down stuck on the bottom side lane. Only one who is strong enough to make a charge here in the front, Payson Lindsay. He has no help from behind, however, and so he'll start to drop back. This race has been extremely civil for the most part. Lap 34 out of 80 here from Talladega. This is SNT. SNT on FTN. Mason Moriarty racing in the rival league with the league on his car. The IORA Cup Series with the Xfinity car runs on Thursdays. Like I mentioned, if you were not here, IORA has an off week next week for Easter weekend. So we'll be back the week after next. So no race next week as IORA gets pushed back a week. But still expect to see the Highline Premier Series and then Road to Pro the week after. So when IORA comes back that Thursday, we go to another round of the NASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series. And that has been a mix-up so far. Had an interesting race at Atlanta. And now we're on to Richmond. NASCAR qualifying iRacing series. Which then leads also to Road to Pro. Or Road to Pro leads to Contender, which leads to the Coca-Cola iRacing series. Lap 36 out of 80, and that second lane has tried to get restarted now. The 3 cars on the top, leader of which, Payson Lindsay. Problem is he's blinking and holding up their charge. He has not been able to convert on his move to the outside lane, and therefore he'll stick in about the 4th position. That outside lane not really knowing what to do. The more we get to that 40 lap mark, the more we get closer to the fuel window. The question is, when are you going to see guys drop and come down to pit road? Pit road window opens in the next 2 laps or so. Green flag pit stops here from Talladega in SNT. We're going to have to see what all these guys do as they want to come down to pit road. They've been clean about everything else so far. So I wonder how well that's going to happen when they have to make green flag pit stops again. With them going down the back straightaway, that outside lane, they're not very concerned about pitting. So that begs the question, as everyone gets spread out, will we see any takers down to pit road off of 4? Isabel slides, goes onto the apron. Does anyone come down? No. Inside lane kind of bobbled up, and with a singular car with help on the outside lane, Payson Lindsay has almost passed Mason, our leader. And yes, he has. They both have. Payson Lindsay scored the leader, stole that one away from the 22. Mason already also scored under Matthew Weeks, but Mason now jumps up ahead of the 11. With help from Connor, Isabel now looks to be going back to the lead. Mason Moriarty leading going into 3 and 4 as we get to the cusp of halfway. Mason now, and the leaders come in. Mason comes in with Isabel. I believe that's that's Van Pelt. And Jacob Elkins now comes down pit road as well. We've got comers down pit road. Taking a look at it here. Here's your leader. That's Payson Lindsay. The people on pit road. Mason is on pit road so far. So is the 27 of Jacob Elkins and the 72 of Connor Isabel and the 07 Jackson Van Pelt. These guys are all leaving their pit stalls. As herein lies the rest of them. As now the 93 gets over a bump. He'll slide. Jordan Kuntz will slide. Locks the brakes up. We have 3 more comers down pit road. So decisions. A lot of these guys being different about the way they go down pit road. Let's meet up with our other group. Mason and them are getting lined up down the back straightaway. Let's take a look at the leaders. They are closing in fast, but they have yet to pit. They have yet to come down pit road. And so far, these guys are going to try and get grouped together and try and come down pit road. As here comes the rest of the field. They all come down as one. That's going to be one large pack as they slide the brakes. They lock up to the cone. They have to make it to the yellow one. That's the pace speed cone. As I believe we might have someone in the grass. No, we don't. Matthew Weeks going to lead us down pit road. As Mason Moriarty now is going through turns 1 and 2 to go down the back straightaway. Let's take a look at our second group of drivers. See if we can find our second group now. There's Jordan Kuntz and the like, so they jumped ahead. Mason Moriarty, these guys just slower now. But Mason only 2.6 seconds back from Kuntz. And with 2 cars, I don't know how well that's going to be. Weeks now, they exit pit road. It's going to be a close one. You can full throttle the exit, but they're being caught by Mason and that group by a large margin, as now Mason is clawing his way back up. He's passing all the people right now as they're going to get hooked up off of 2. Does Mason have the charge? They're still going through 1 and 2 themselves. They're going to pass the 52 as well. So now Mason also going to pass Vinny Tigner. And then in turn, Carter Casey, as all these guys came down pit road at the same time, but were staggered entering. Payson Lindsay leads this 4-car pack. He leads Matthew Weeks, Jeremy E. Miller, Jordan Kuntz, and Kenneth Grawl. Well, green flag pit stops just happened here in Talladega as they get ready to get sorted and get back to the pack. Let's take a quick break to thank the people who make this all possible.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel.
S&T at Talladega is back. Lap 69 out of 80. Things have continued to get even crazier with just about 10 laps to go. Vinny Tigner takes the lead over Carter Casey, and Kenneth Growell now goes up into the mix as well. Matthew Weeks and Jordan Kuntz up through the field. Things changed up the order. Now, Vinny Tigner in the lead over Carter Casey, Matthew Weeks, Connor Isabel and the like mixed up in the middle of the field. Things are getting shaken up here now. Mason Moriarty in that 22 looked to go 3 middle, thought better of it. Will stay back in that bottom lane. Things are getting tension. Things are getting more. Tension is rising now as these guys want to go 3 wide. They all want to go for the race lead and for the race win. Closing down now to the end of this one. As with just in 10 laps, there will be a finish. Three wide middle. That's Grab in the middle. Matt Grab. He's in the number 53 as he splits it middle 3 wide. Vinny Tigner leads that outside lane with Matthew Weeks in tow. Then it's Weeks, Isabel, and then Grab and Van Pelt behind. Moriarty now behind Isabel. He jumps up to be 4th in that middle lane, looking to get something done. Moriarty now looking in multiple directions here as he looks to make a gap work, but there's not much of a gap anywhere, to be honest with you, as they are still 3 wide with help coming from the back of the 22. I gotta tell you here, temps are sure going to be rising now from this point on. Mason now jumps up 3 wide. Trying to use any lane that has momentum or any lane that has a run. I don't know if that's the smartest idea, as they're going to go 4 wide in the middle of the pack. They went 4 wide for what looked like a second. Mason and them will drop back. Carter Casey, Vinny Tigner still fighting it out for the lead. Although the 57 touches the apron, slides, and gets loose. These guys all trying to fight for the lead. And things are going to get dicey here in the next few laps as we come over with the ticker to almost 5 laps to go. Coming in the ballpark, just a handful of miles left to run here from Talladega. More 2-wide action as the 91 gets turned to lead the outside lane. He'll scrape against the inside wall. Isabel goes for a spin. The 22 gets turned. It's pandemonium in the middle of the pack. And the caution will come out again. Let's take a look to see what happened. The 91 gets turned. Mason slides up. The 37 comes down. Mason gets into Isabel, is unable to save the car, and he overcorrects back up the track, collecting Kuntz, the 37, multiple others. Again, the wreck started with Casey ferociously getting hooked in the tri-oval. And there it is. It just turns him aggressively. The 37 sees that wreck and comes down the track, not realizing Mason is there. He comes down, bobbles once, and straight up the track he goes. He takes out the 37 and the 99, and missing that wreck, the 8 also goes around. Kuntz back down the track. Does he collect anyone else? Yes, he does. I believe he collects Henry Kalhoff. The caution is out for the second time here tonight in what was a really common green race. Back under yellow. Vinny Tigner remains your leader. Catching up to the pace car. Well, if you just tuned in, missing a wreck that brought out the yellow for the second time. Well, we're under caution again here in SNT, and we'll be back with you after the break.
Racing isn't easy.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Getting ready to go green here in SNT at Talladega. Lap 76 out of 80. When we get restarted, there will be 4 laps to go. If you're just joining us now, we just had a wreck that encompassed about half the mid-pack. Mason Moriarty involved, the 99 involved, the 56 involved as well. They will all take their fast repair and they head back up through the field. And they start, I believe, 15th, 16th, and 17th, respectively. So in these 4 laps, they have a lot of ground to make up if they want to come home in victory lane. The pace car now going to look to make its dive off of pit road. Or off of the track and onto pit road. We get ready for one of the longer waits to get to the restart zone. Because as you remember, The finish line for Dega is moved 1,000 feet forward from what is the center of the track. But as Vinny Tigner rolls at pace speed to the Geico restart zone, we are green from Talladega. Exciting first lap of action after the restart as we are already 4 wide with 3 laps to go. Mason Moriarty able to cut his way up through the field. We're riding on board with the 12 of Vinny Tigner as he looks to go for the lead, the pass of the 30. He'll jump up to that outside lane and he'll rocket up to the lead and lead the middle lane, and the 53 gets turned, but he saves it. What an immaculate save by the 53. They'll keep it straight and keep it green. Moves being made. Tigner getting squeezed too wide by the 37. 2 laps to go. Kuntz, after being involved in that wreck, has made his way back up to, I believe, second spot as he will go up to block the 12, and now Van Pelt goes up with him. Miller goes down to the bottom, and so does Kuntz, and he gets blocked by the 07. He gives a bumper. Now Tigner 3 wide in the middle. Then with the 57, Tigner gets tagged. He'll save it. Is he clear? I don't think so. Pushing Van Pelt. The yellow comes out again, and the field is gone. The field behind the 53 is gone. I believe that was the 77, if not the 27. Let's go take a replay and see what happened. Oh, and that's a massive hit! Weeks is on his side, grinding against the catch fence and the outside safer barrier. What a lick! I gotta go back and look at that. I believe Matthew Weeks might be done for this one. So let's take a look to see what happened here. And off and over he goes. Just slides down the banking, slides to the grass, and is permanently on his side. Let's take a look to see how that happened in the first place. So the 92 involved again. Weeks goes on his side, and the 27 spins out of nowhere. See if we can't pinpoint the cause. So let's see. Empty middle lane. Besides Tigner. Let's see if we can't look from a better perspective to see what happened here. Here are these guys going into 3. Let's get a look at the blimp view and go back down to Matthew Weeks. He was the one involved. Easy. These guys are getting pushy. Oh, the 30 gets tagged. And the 29 goes down to the apron. Oh, don't tell me he lost it on his own. All seems fine. Oh, it's the 57. He makes contact with the left rear of Tigner, knocks the 92, and goes straight up the track, launching Weeks in the air. And the 27 looks to have had it saved and violently spins down the track. Well, caution comes out for the third time tonight, and in one of the hardest wrecks I've seen in SNT, under yellow again. Jordan Coons is your leader over Jeremy E. Miller, Jackson Van Pelt, Benny Tigner, Payson Lindsay, Carter Casey, Dylan Wheeler, Matt Grab, Connor Isabel, Kyle J. Jackson rounds out your top 10. We will have a green-white checkered attempt. So, we will go green. We'll do a lap, then take the white. If we do not take the white, I believe we will rack them up and go again. If we do take the white and the yellow comes out, the next flag ends the race. As we get ready, go across the start-finish line through the restart zone. Get ready for the 1 to go signal by Barney. Barney, the flag man, and pace car lights are off. 1 lap to go. As this field has shown us they can provide great racing, but they can also provide quite a lot of wrecking, as we've seen in the last few yellows. Well, it's been a mixed one here from Talladega. Both great racing, and otherwise said so. It's been a good one here from Dega if you're just joining us now. Lot of mixed bag and stuff going on. Been an extremely exciting race. Jordan Kuntz, your leader over Jeremy E. Miller, Benny Tigner, Jackson Van Pelt, Carter Casey, Payson Lindsay, Dylan Wheeler, Matt Grab, Connor Isabel, and Kyle J. Jackson rounds out the top 10. Pace car rounding off turn 4, going to make its eventual dive down to pit road as it does now. We have to wait another eternity for the field to get to the Geico restart zone before we go green for the first green-white checkered attempt as we go into eNASCAR overtime. Yellowwood pressure-treated pine as we get ready to go to the Geico restart zone. Kuntz will roll up with Miller.
Green flag.
Green flag drops for the first green-white checkered attempt. eNASCAR overtime attempt number 1. Already Kuntz leading that bottom side lane, but Miller has that help immediately by Tigner on that outside lane. And this is going to be detrimental to Kuntz as he's going to drop back a spot already. Payson moves up to the middle. Looks to have help by the 53. The 53 will stay in line. No, never mind. He goes top. They're already 3 wide. Mason now goes to the top. 53 is blinking. Nowhere to be found. Mason will have to file back as he is blinking the 30. Miller now drops to the bottom. And as we come off turn number 4, will we make it to the white? It looks like, yes, we will. 1 lap to go here from Talladega. Miller leads over Tigner. Kuntz as well. Kuntz is there as well. Help from Carter Casey in the 91. Miller has to block if he wants to keep his lead. As things are getting shuffled up here in the pack. Mason, 4th in line on that outside lane. Can he win in his first S&T start here from Talladega? Kuntz pushes to 30. Tigner leading that middle lane. What's going to happen as we exit 4? Miller slides. He gets loose. He wiggles. Coming off turn number 4. Does he block? No, he doesn't. Kuntz slides. Collects the field. Miller is going to be the one to lead at the white flag. They go to the Geico restart zone. They're going to go 2-3 wide. Miller blocks. Miller wins. Miller wins at Talladega. Jeremy E. Miller comes home with the win in an exciting finish at Talladega. What a finish. It was a phenomenal race, and he did so well, led all those laps, and comes home with the win. His teammate there celebrating as well. As Jeremy Miller comes home in Talladega victory lane. He comes to the start-finish line to burn it down. He will park it in the grass. Jeremy Miller comes home in victory lane. Well, let's take a look at the results here from the S&T race at Talladega. Jeremy E. Miller comes home with the win over Connor Isabel as he ends up second. Then it's Kyle J. Jackson, Mason Moriarty, Carter Casey, Payson Lindsay, James Bowden, Jacob Elkins, Patrick Genter, and Dylan Wheeler rounds out your top 10. Moving on to the rest of the field, it's Tyler Sivert and his brother Roger coming home in 11th and 12th. It's Matt Grab, then Jordan Kuntz, Vinny Tigner, Jackson Van Pelt, Henry Kalhoff, Kenneth Gorel, Matthew Weeks, and Shane Weldon finishes last. Well, it's been an exciting one here from Talladega, and as we get ready to do interviews, we'll be back after a short intermission. Well, this is SNT Talladega. The finishing results are in, and we're going to get interviews underway. Let's move our third place driver to the booth. Kyle Jackson, you come home in third after what can be described as an incredible race here from Talladega. Tell me and walk me how you did it.
Yeah, that was a wild race. I was just trying to ride for the whole race there, and I ended up trying to push Vinny and lost control and wrecked it. Went a lap down because I missed my pit stall, and then avoided all that madness at the end and finished third. It was a pretty good race.
Well, I thought so as well. From a broadcaster's perspective, a clean and green Talladega race is not something I see often. Is that what you were expecting coming into tonight's race?
Yeah, these guys are all really good racers. I thought it was going to be a pretty clean race because majority of them have been so far, and yeah, just other than that big wreck there at the end, it was a pretty good race.
Well, I thought so as well. Some of the interesting things is the green flag at pit stops when the field got split up. Did you really kind of get an understanding of why we only saw a couple cars come down pit road at a time and then the one big pack? Oh. Well, so he's not here anymore. I didn't see him leave. So that ends our interview with Kyle Jackson. Okay, congratulations on third to Kyle Jackson. We're going to go and move on to our second place driver, Connor Isabel. Connor Isabel, you join us here in the FTN broadcast booth after you come home in second at Talladega. How you feeling?
Heartbroken.
That's it? I mean,
Yeah, I'm still going over the fact that what had I done different to try to see if I could get along side by side, but overall had a good car all day, just had nothing for it.
I mean, I don't know. With how that race ended, personally, I would be happy with a second place.
Yeah, it is my career high for every league. My motive is I'm not gonna win this year, I swear. But yeah, I'm kind of just like overviewing it. I'll sit back and watch the stream again and just like see what could have happened that I could have done differently. But overall, had a good career high, and yeah.
Well, I'd like to get a word with you on the green flag pit stops we had. Could you give us a little more reasoning on why there was only a couple cars that came down at a time and then one big pack?
Oh, the 22 was running low, so me and a couple of the fours behind me and one Toyota, we decided four group of four just come down, try to like have the 22 because 22 is good car. He's pretty fast, so I kind of want to just go down with him. So we got that going. Then we're starting to be on that bubble for the fuel, and yeah.
Well, a really exciting race from the broadcasting perspective, and I thought tonight's race was really good. Well, congratulations on second place. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank or anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you to Fashcash Sim Products for giving me the paint scheme and sponsorship. Really supportive, very supported by them, and thank you for all the drivers that helped me today. And yeah.
Well, congratulations on coming home in second place, and thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
That was the voice of Connor Isabel, the man who comes home in second place. Now let's talk to your winner, Jeremy E. Miller. You come home in SNT Victory Lane here at Talladega. You're in the FTN booth. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. It was a really fun race out there.
I was surprised it went green and it was clean for so long.
Yeah, I mean, we were all trying to hit our fuel number that first run, so you get a lot of single file racing there, kind of just half throttle, making sure you can get to that lap 40 mark to get yourself to 80. So it wasn't really too intense. I led the first few laps of the race, and I just decided to dip to the back to save fuel, and I think pretty much everybody had the same idea there, just riding. So, but once we got racing, it definitely got a little Talladega-like, and we had quite a few yellows there coming to the end.
Yeah, I thought so too, and I was a little bit confused. Could you give me a little bit more insight about the green flag pit stops that went sort of how a couple of cars came down at once and then a whole pack came by?
Yeah, a couple of people just probably missed a fuel number by a lap or two and just pit by themselves early because they were running out front. You know, you lead, you burn the most fuel, so they had to come in early. But I was aiming for 41, 42, and that was pretty much what most of the pack was looking for as well. So got in there with everybody, and it was a pretty clean green flag cycle.
Well, overall, how well do you think this race was? In my opinion, I thought this race was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, for only 20 cars a day, I definitely felt like we put on a pretty good show. I know I went 3 wide top at one point and made a charge to the front. I saw a couple other people do that as well. I know that 99 was out there driving pretty much as hard as I was all night. Definitely felt like me and him were probably two of the cars to beat. I know he got wrecked there coming to the line, but it would have been a hell of a finish between the two of us if he didn't.
Well, I agree more than ever. Well, congratulations on coming home in SNT Victory Lane, coming here first at Dega, a plate win under your belt. And is there anyone else you'd like to say, or anything else you'd like to say, or anyone else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just got to thank everybody at 609 Motorsports for the beautiful Jay McMurray for back us running today and just all the help they put into these efforts. And then Carter and Vinny for putting on the race, and you putting on a great show for everybody at home watching.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on the win again, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That was the voice of your winner, Jeremy Miller. And with that interview being closed, I believe it's time to put this one to bed, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been SNT on FTN Talladega. And it's been a great one, folks. We saw a lot of great action there on the track. We saw a lot of great action through and through. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Thank you all for being constant members of FTN. For those of you unaware, I have been your host, producer, commentator, Alexander Balderas, producer and commentator. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get more information for all Fireball Talks NASCAR related content, make sure to scan the QR code and join our official Discord for more race information and access to interviews and all in-house FTN productions. And for those of you interested in joining any iRacing, eNASCAR, or anything other of the like, scan the QR code on your screen right now to have a chance to join iRacing and be on maybe one of these broadcasts that you see live weekly. And as always, please be sure to remember that thank you everyone to all of our fans for coming out and supporting FTN. It's been a great one here from me. And signing off is Alexander Balderas. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and have a wonderful night.